My video recorder actually stopped recording. Oh my gosh. So I don't think I was talking for that long, but anyway, I just got to finish this up. So I was saying, believe me, there have been many times where I was thinking and asking myself, are you crazy? What are you doing? You're 40 something years old. You're starting all over. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You are entering a whole brand new field, and it's scary because it feels like, at my age everyone else is doing whatever they're doing, but it's like I don't want to do that stuff anymore. I want something completely different. I'm a writer and that's what I want to do, and I want to do other things, and none of my previous job as an admin assistant was what I wanted to do anymore. So I know that when I left my job, that was the right decision, and I never questioned the decision because it took me a year and a half to leave. I knew I needed to leave. It was time to leave. I had just all the inspiration in the world to leave. There was no question about that. But after that, things get real. So I've just been very, 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 very blessed to meet wonderful people along my path, and to have a wonderful set of friends who are only supportive of me. And I've often thought of them and how they support me, because I know that they were thinking like, what is she doing? Is she crazy? You've been there for 19 years and you're just leaving? Yep. But I will say, I think no one ever said anything crazy to me about it either. They would just be like, well, okay, well, you know what? If I know you, you've got a plan. And they're right. And I would often think of that. It's like they know me because they've worked with me for so many years, and I've made a lot of personal friendships. And if there's one thing that they have to know about me, is that I'm diligent and I'm hardworking, and I am determined, and I will produce. And so a lot of times I would just think of that. Like they can have confidence in me, then I can have confidence in me. So, and anyway, it's quite the journey. If there's anybody out there that has ever thought about being an entrepreneur, if you're already an entrepreneur, then you already know. But now I know. But I just want to commemorate that because it does take faith. Faith is what pulls you through. Knowing that it will work is what has pulled me through. And so I'm ready to complete every single project that I friggin' started. So, yeah, this is my year to do it. I'm already working on my first one, and I put in my calendar, just work on it every single day and all day Saturday. And I have the time frames for that until it's done. And that's what I'm going to do. I don't know how long it'll take. I'm not worried about how long it'll take. I'm worrying about completing it. And you know what else I have discovered this year, which I didn't think of? I did a lot of writing for Kwanzaa, but I didn't think of this one. In terms of happiness, I was listening to a Marilyn Monroe interview. She doesn't have a lot of them out there. And some of them, somebody asked her if she was happy. And I remember her saying, well, I don't know about happy, and she was talking about whatever she was talking about. And for some reason that kind of stuck with me, because then I kept thinking, well, is she not happy? And then after a while, it's like, well, what is happiness exactly? What does that feel like every day? Like if somebody asked me, are you happy? What would I say? Am I happy? And so what I discovered was fulfillment. And because when I think of happiness, I think of like, hi, yeah, hi, yeah, and everyone's not always on that level every single day. But fulfillment, being complete, being whole in myself, and knowing that I accomplished what I set out to accomplish each day, that's what I aim for. So I don't call it happiness anymore. I don't think in terms of being happy, because I know that if I am fulfilled, I am certainly not unhappy. So so I may not be like, oh, hi, like I don't know what does happiness look like exactly. But I know what unhappiness looks like, and when I am fulfilled, I am not unhappy. So that is what I aim for each day. Ever since I came to this realization, in the past month or so, and it's been working out well for me. Like, I don't feel like I have to achieve something that's maybe a little bit unrealistic. Happiness, you know. I would just like to achieve fulfillment, because then I'll be content. Contentness, contented. I don't know, whatever. Fulfillment, and so that has been resonating with me the most, more so than happiness. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, because sometimes I feel like we're chasing happiness. I hear this word a lot from people, and I don't know anymore for myself even what that means. I just know what fulfillment feels like, and fulfillment feels really, really good. Each day when I come home and I've done what I set out to do that day, it feels really, really good. And so, like I said, it's if you're fulfilled, you're content, and you're not unhappy, but it doesn't mean I have a big smile on my face. I don't know. I just feel good. So that's it. Anything else before I sign off? I'm really excited and I'm really happy, and I hope that other people are too. And I just want to say that I have the control over my life, and every person has the control over your own life. And if you feel that things are out of control, you do possess the ability to bring it back into control. You possess the ability to do so. And you have to find out the best way for you to generate that. For me, the best thing is to write it down, write my ideas down and my goals down on a piece of paper, and not have so many things swirling around in my head. Get it out of your head and get it onto paper so that you can proceed with a clear mind. Look at those goals, sort them out, organize them, and do one at a time, work on one at a time. I don't watch the news. I don't absorb negative information. I don't go into negative spaces. Jim Rohn said you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. That's so important, because I feel like anything I need to know about what's going on in somebody else's backyard, if it's big enough of a deal, it will get out. It will get to me, because somebody will say it and I'll hear it from somewhere, because people are always talking and gossiping about the latest propaganda and whatever's going on in the news. But for the most part, I make a concerted effort not to care. And matter of fact, I got this inspiration earlier today to, maybe I'll do that next, make a video on how to do that. It might sound like it's callous, but it's not, because I do care about people, very much so. But I've learned to control my compassion. And I've learned that within this world, we have so much access to a tremendous amount of information that we haven't had before. And we have to learn how to be with all that information. You cannot give all of your attention to every little thing going on in every single country all across the world. And you have got to find a way to be at peace with not knowing what's going on in everyone's backyard. Now, I will say it is helpful, because sometimes you'd like to contribute. And I know people from all over the world. And if I hear something's going on in a country and it's from someone that I know is from that country, I will usually reach out to them and ask if they're taking up donations, or just go onto whatever website I can and do that. If you're inspired to do that, that's something that makes me feel comfortable. But I will not tune in every day and find out the latest goings on and get upset and angry and frustrated over things that I cannot control. That I will not do. And so I have developed boundaries around what I will give my attention to. And that's important. And I think it's important that we all learn how to do that. If you're in your 40s and up, then you know what it's like to live more in a quiet state. Because in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have all this technology and the TV and the Netflix and Google. Those things didn't exist. Um, Cell phones, most people didn't have one. There were these big clunkers that some people would have in a car, but it wasn't like everyone had one walking down the street. You didn't. And so there was a measure of peacefulness and quietness in the mind. Okay, we didn't have all the mind chatter and monkey mind and all of that stuff. We didn't have that because we weren't actively engaged in every single person's business on the planet. And so now that we have the entire world open up to us, that is a benefit for sure. It's a benefit. It's a good thing. But we have to learn how to met out that time and attention so that we don't end up harming ourselves in the process of needing to know what's going on in every single country and what's going on in every single person's backyard. We have to learn how to live with a tremendous amount of access to information and not hurt ourselves in the process. And so that's one thing that I hope that people can examine and look at more so this year, because I see that there is a lot of struggle and people tend to think that social media is bad and all these spaces are bad, but it's really, you have to look in the mirror and decide what is working for you and what isn't. And when you decide what is not working for you, then go in the direction of what is working for you. So sometimes that means you have to turn off the TV or limit your use, or say, okay, I'll just watch it on this day at this time, or these 2-3 days a week at this time and for 1 hour, and then turn it off. Whatever it is, you figure out, you're an adult, figure out what's going to work for you. But there has to be some things that you don't drive yourself crazy. So I would love to see more of that this year. Be that as it may, I'm going to figure out a way to continue promoting what I believe in, and especially with the reading of books, because that will help with monkey mind. It'll help take your mind away from all the crazy stuff out there in the world. And however much crazy stuff is out there, there's always wonderful, wonderful people there too. And I must say, I had a little bit of a snafu. I ended up selling my car, and I had someone that was going to pick it up. He was trying to steal my car and not pay me for it. And it didn't go down like that, he discovered. And so the next day, I ended up finding a different person. And it was actually a recommendation. And the guy was so good and wonderful. And I ended up giving him my last Lindt chocolate bar, because I was like, if he's a good guy, he can have my chocolate bar, because I really appreciate good people. And he was like, thank you. And, I said, yeah, if you end up being a good guy, then you can, whatever. So he said, yeah, go tell my wife that. So she was in the car. So I told her that. And I said, if you have a good husband, it's because he has a good wife. So, but I just wanted to say, he told her, you see, there are still good people in the world. And I said, well, you're one of them. Your vibe attracts your tribe for sure. And it's like, I know so many good and wonderful people, but I make a decision not to associate with people who don't fit into that category. That's it. Like, I will not bend on that. And that's something that I've done since I was a little kid. So that's just how it is. You've got to protect your energy. And that's one way. Like, at the end of the day, I just didn't want to be around people who didn't make me feel good about myself. And so I've limited that since I was a child. And same was when I was a teenager. Same in my 20s. Yeah, I had a little snafu in my 20s, but I learned my lesson because I know better. And then, picked right back up where I left off of. It's not worth it. It's not worth being around people that you don't want to be around. And so when he said that, I just wanted to remind him that he was one of those people as well, one of those good people in the world. And there's so many. There's really a lot of people in the world. But when you watch something like the news, they just concentrate on showing you whatever they feel you're going to tune into and watch and going to get the most reaction out of you. It's not untrue that there are bad things in the world, but it's also not untrue that there are many, 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 many wonderful things in the world. And so it all depends on where you choose to place your focus. So it's important that we place our focus on what matters to us the most. and on positive things and things that make us feel good about who we are, not on gaining other people's attention and gaining other people's approval of our lifestyle and all of that. You don't need that. You need to approve your own lifestyle. As long as you approve your own lifestyle, then you find your tribe who will approve you and you'll be fine. Anyway, I think that's everything I've had to say to commemorate this Kwanzaa day today, faith, stepping out on faith for this new year and knowing in my heart that I'm ready. I'm ready to finish these friggin' projects, and I'm just going to do it one at a time. And so far, I've been refusing to have my attention distracted. I'm one of those people that is a total homebody, and I have a million things to do. And I'm like in 2020, when people had to stay home, I actually was in work full time because I was working in a hospital, so it wasn't an option for me. But I'm like, no, it's the greatest thing ever for introverts. I'm sure for extroverts, I think they were having a really hard time. But anyway, whatever. Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. Step out on faith this year, and yeah, that's it. Tell yourself you love yourself every single day if you're not feeling that way. And I hope everyone has a blessed year, a blessed Kwanzaa year. And I'll see you again soon. I don't know when. It might be tonight. It might be tomorrow. But I'll be back very soon. Take care. Have a good night.